Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we are looking at Game 7, the magic words here. It's a Saturday during this game. We're recording one night early here on Friday to get ahead of Game 7 in Denver. Clippers are going back there to try to win this thing and win 2 in a row. So we're looking at this one with some insights, matchups. We got some player props. We got some best bets about the game. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel, bringing you a weekend episode, and then we'll be back on Monday with the rest of the next series that we'll have as well. We also have that email newsletter. Hopefully you guys are getting that. Link is in the description of the video. Definitely recommend staying tapped in with everything that's going on with sports betting by checking that out. All right, Nate, let's go right into it and kick it off with your first bet for this one.
Yeah, I like the Nuggets here with Jokic to score 25 plus, and that almost gets you plus 150 at most spots here. I mean, if you take the -1, Clippers are getting some steam here early. As you know, the better team, you could say, from just a straight up evaluation standpoint. Maybe they have better personnel. They definitely have a better coaching staff. There's plenty of playoff experience on both sides, but they do not have the best player. And Jokic, who's been extremely aggressive the last couple of games, didn't have to be in Game 5 because they just blew doors off him, right? The Clippers have not really put together a good game in Denver to this point in the series. And, a lot of that is just the simple fact of the Intuit Dome has boosted these guys up, has done things like make James Harden a clutch playoff performer. But maybe we'll see how long that lasts. He made me look stupid for fading him Game 6, but I wouldn't dissuade anyone from fading him Game 7 here. Like, he had a 17-point outburst in the second quarter and then just completely ran out of gas, and the Nuggets just adjusted a little bit and held him down. Kawhi's going to get his, but Gordon makes it tough. Same thing you could say for Zubac on Jokic, but are you really going to doubt this guy in a Game 7? Jamal Murray is now looking like prime Jamal Murray again. These Nuggets are going to remember what happened last year too. If they get that 20-point lead, not only did that happen in Game 5 of this series, right? They almost blew the 20-point lead, but they blew it and lost to the Wolves last year. So I think that will be a central rallying cry as they prep for this, is full 48. We're bringing it, and honestly, it is a big home court advantage for them as well. This is what everyone was predicting basically at the top, is the series is going 7, Nuggets at home, and we think the Nuggets will close it out. So they're definitely going to need some scoring from Jokic to do it. So I think combining these two is worth the extra juice.
Yeah. I see it. You were definitely, wanting something to pair with their -1 here, get a little bit of juice. And these things are highly correlated, but you get a nice return on this one. And it does seem like two things that are very, very likely to happen. Jokic in Game 7s, even last year when they got trounced, right, in Game 7 at home versus Minnesota, that was at home. Yeah. He still had 34. What was it? 14. So, he had Jokic numbers with 30 plus. So
he had 60 PRA. Yeah.
60 PRA. Exactly. Right. I remember looking at that and trying to count in my head, and I was like 34, 9. Jesus, he's already at 51. We haven't even touched the assists yet. That was my math in my head. He's going to show up, and the still accumulating assists that way are incredibly impressive. The question is Jamal Murray going to show up? Is he going to be the dude that we've seen in this series? I think that's pretty much the key X factor more than anything, because Jokic can get the guys open that he wants to get open. And then it's really about who's his running mate with the other primary ball handler, facilitator, creator, individual shot creator, etc. And obviously the guy who runs best off him, better than any teammate that he's ever played with. So I'm taking Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes because we're getting really nice juice on it. And these, I'll start with this. I understand sample size. This is 6 games, 3 at home, 3 on the road. But if you look at the difference, pretty stark. At home so far in this series from deep, we're looking at 5 per game, exactly 5 per game, 9.7 attempts per game. And that's keys. 3 away games, he's at 1.3 made shots per game from 3, 5 attempts per game. Obviously, the percentage sticks out to you, but really the 3-point attempts are what stick out to you. And we're getting plus money for him to get right what he's done here in all of the 3 of the home games, which is key for me, because there is something to we've seen both these teams do their thing at home versus on the road. Obviously 1 game each taken. But then when it counts since Game 5, this is what you expect. Game 5 goes to the home team, Game 6, and now everything's just on the table. And I think we expect the home team, what they've shown here is that their ability to do this. But for Jamal, like I said, the attempts come up, and really, I think if we are looking at what we should expect for him in this one, how many shots are going to come from not Jokic and Murray, and how many of when you need a 3-pointer, it's just pretty scarce where you're going on this team now. Christian Brown has had a nice percentage from three the other day in Game 6 on the road, really nice game, but 4 attempts, right? Like you're going to need someone who's coming up with 8 to 10 attempts here. That's clearly Jamal. We might get 4 or 5 from Jokic, but if they want to get to even 28 3-point attempts, 30, like they're going to need Jamal to be close to double digits in his attempts. So he's going to keep firing. There's not going to be any moping because he misses 1 or 2, even if he comes out cold to start. He's just going to keep going.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, he's a barometer for the Nuggets winning. So I mean, that is maybe the one concern about Jokic getting his numbers is like it could be a spread him out. If Jamal and Russ are as hot as they were in Game 5, Jokic might not have to do that much heavy lifting. But I mean, this is a big reason why it's a home road splits type situation too, right? I mean, it's him being the barometer. The barometer go up at home in the Mile High. But that being said, like if you don't want to pick a winner here, I think you can still take Jokic props, 41.5 points, rebounds, which seems scary because he's gone under in 5 of 6 this series. And Zubac coming in was like the number one guy limiting him. Has done a great job for sure, but we've seen Jokic get real aggro lately. 31% usage last game, still went under this number. But that is partially because of the officiating. Like everybody who watched that second half was like, damn, people are hacking. And like with the Nuggets shot like 13 free throws the entire game as a team. And Jokic was getting hacked. And so like now I think we have a different whistle in Denver in a Game 7 that should have more rebounding opportunities, first of all, because it is a Game 7, right? The total moving down. And it's just like, consider Joker with their backs against the wall in Game 4 goes for 36 and 21. So the one over in this series was a monster over. He had 35 rebound chances. He only deferred 1. He actually didn't even shoot well in the paint, but was roasting Zoo on all those step backs and soundboard shuffles and everything he can pull out here. And yeah, that's what he'll go to, right? If the Nuggets aren't getting that much supporting cast help at home, he will become more of a scorer. We've seen this in basically every series finale over the last 3 years. He's averaged 45 PR with about a 30% usage rate. I mean, the assists have been down in this series and really all season against the Clippers because their coaching staff is so good at figuring out how to limit his easy assist opportunities. But the rebound chances are there. I mean, right? He's at 26 in his last 3 now. He's grabbing 12.7. So I think there's a world where he goes under the 28.5 points, still gets monster rebounding numbers if this is a true rock fight, and still gets you over this prop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would be going this route as well. It's interesting. I have a buddy who has found sort of a nice bet that he goes to sometimes, which is like Jokic triple-double. But you take an under on something like maybe you don't think he's going to do points, or maybe you think the PRA is really high. So you go under PRA, triple double. As long as he doesn't get like a 30-point triple double, you get like 5-1 for it. And I think this is like not the exact opposite of that situation. I think just go with the PRA because it's going to come from a lot of different places. I mean, he's looking at like 14 rebounds a game in Game 7s that he's played in his career. Different scenario. He hasn't been going up against Zoo, who has been probably the best, I don't want to say Jokic stopper, but definitely Jokic limiter, especially because he's out there so much. Like you've talked about with Zoo before, like Zoo doesn't get subbed out because he doesn't get fouls on Jokic the way a lot of other guys will inevitably get, 3 fouls in early in the third quarter kind of situation against Jokic or whatever. But either way, like for Jokic, like he's going to do it on at least 2 of these 3 categories, in my opinion. I think most likely the rebounds and the points, which is what he's shown in these Game 7s. He's like, I guess I'll take over and do what I know I need to do to make sure we get buckets, make sure we get rebounds. But if they do decide to just sell out on him, then good luck with the human computer that he is figuring you out faster than you can even realize he's figured you out. So let me go to Ago as well. We're still talking about some Denver guys here, but obviously I think we like Denver in this one, as we made clear. I think Aaron Gordon, you can take either on like the PR again, it's at 20.5, or you can get really good odds here for 15 plus points combined with 5 plus rebounds. And he's done this in 4 of 6 in the series. And this is something that he does consistently when he gets on the season the minutes that he's getting in the playoffs. And he hasn't seen the 42 minutes that he's seeing in the playoffs during the regular season. But even when he was seeing 34, 35, 36 minutes in the regular season, he's averaging these numbers right here that when we put together, we get this nice return, right? And he's actually averaging 6.8 rebounds in the games where he sees at least 34 minutes. And he's looking at 15.8 points per game as well in that time frame. So he's done this consistently throughout the season when he gets the minutes. He's now done it almost every game in this series because he's getting the minutes in part. One of those unders was that game that they got blown out and there wasn't much left for him to do or anybody else. But the rebound chances are really what keep you going back to his rebounds. They keep them at 5.5. They had him at 4.5 in game one. That was an easy one, but they keep him at 5.5 around plus money. And granted, like even in this last game, he only had 5, which still got us there. He hit it in the last game, but he didn't get the 5.5 for plus money, even though he had 13 rebound chances. And keep in mind, like I'm going to give him a bit of a break on the rebound chance success rate here when he is guarding Kawhi. Which is in and of itself a hard enough job to then ask him to make sure he boxes out Kawhi, who's going in for those offensive rebounds, which does lead me to go, okay, well, then I know that he's going for defensive rebounds because he has to box out Kawhi. Big reason for those rebound chances. Tough to always get rebounds when there's two giant behemoths, one on each team that are going at it in the centers on both sides, right? So it's understandable that maybe his rebound chance success rate isn't as high. Plus, he's dealing with a dude who has arms that reach from probably outside the paint to the rim in Kawhi. So that's a hard thing to box out consistently, which makes it tougher to also go get the boards. I'm giving him all of that benefit of the doubt because he's still getting the 5 to 6 rebounds in part as well because the minutes, right? So I think all these things weighted together combined to tell you like, yeah, I really like the rebounds for him. And the only thing I'll say about the points is James Harden is one of the primary defenders on him for most of the game. And that's my cap on his points.
Yeah, and the Clippers, I mean, you can't turn off everything, right? I mean, they're gonna be sending soft doubles at Jokic. They're going to be trying to limit Murray, and Gordon is the third point of that triangle, right? Where he's just going to find the openings and come through in the clutch. I mean, he's just a playoff elevator who's like averaged at least 13 in pretty much every playoff series with this team. Doesn't score as much in the regular season, but he's averaging 18.5 in this series. So like you said, he's taking advantage of the right matchups. And look, I wouldn't say we're taking all Nuggets because we're bullish on them winning, but they're a little more easy to predict from a mentality standpoint, I think, than the stoic Kawhi and the boom bust James Harden led team on the other side. So, I mean, Russ Westbrook to go after rebounds, I trust that. So over 4.5 at nearly even money. It means it's basically on surface a bet on MPJ losing minutes again, in which case you're sitting pretty because Russ is averaging 7 rebounds per 36 in the series. He's averaging 6.5 per 36 for the entire season sample size. He grabbed 10 of 14 last game. Probably like stole a couple away from Joker in that particular one. And if game 5 was so weird that Russ was like, he came back from the injury. He was like Steph off the bench all of a sudden, 21 points and didn't board up because nobody was missing. But let's think of this game 7 more as like the game 1 slugfest we saw where Russ had his fingerprints all over the game, not necessarily because he was shooting well or scoring well, but because he was being Russ Westbrook, right? He was being a freight train, grabbing 4 of his 8 rebounds were all offensive rebounds. He finishes a +7 in 34 minutes, MPJ -8 in 26 minutes, and Russ is at 23 points rebounds, MPJ with 7. He actually had a team-high 17 rebound chances in that game and deferred on 4. So he was not necessarily the Russ grabbing everything's mine. He's just getting his nose in there. He's in position to grab the boards because he's guarding who most possession, like Norm Powell, Harden, maybe Batum if he's in there. Like he's in a position to pinch down and help out, while Jokic and Gordon are both dealing with the best rebounders on the other team for the most part, right? So it makes sense that Russ gonna rush in there and help. And the Clippers, aside from Zoo and Kawhi, are not a good defensive rebounding team, and that's why Russ has been able to get in those teams and get some key offensive rebounds. So I think Adelman, he should, unless MPJ comes out like looking completely rejuvenated, I think Adelman's got to go back to like, okay, we need more veterans in here. Let me get Westbrook in here, get our best 5 out there for 30 plus minutes.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to play this as safely as possible, I think you kind of see what MPJ looks like when he comes out. But it's really hard for me to see somebody who was having so much trouble for that game 6, coming home 2 days later, and just being right and just being able to go right. Now he didn't have any stats going into the second half here for MPJ, and it just became clear pretty quick that didn't matter because he still couldn't do enough, and that's how Russ ends up with 35 minutes. So normally I would say like, oh well, if MPJ hits early, he's going to get minutes. But even when he came out hitting in the third quarter, it still didn't warrant him more minutes in that second half. And then Russ did Russ things. And the duality of Russ strikes again. It's a third game in this series that Russ has missed a layup in the last like 2 minutes of the game where you're going like, oh my God, that layup was massive. In this case, to take the lead by 3, as we know, and then they end up losing, but by 6. But either way, let me go to MPJ, and these super correlated. I am going to take under on his PRA. I also think that there's ways to play this and parlay things that'll get you some good looks, because it's one of those things where like if it's cold and we have a low minutes projection for him, then you can take like under 5.5 rebounds, parlay it with under 10.5 points or to a 1.5 assists. I love that, by the way. Even if you leave the points out of it and you just go rebounds and assists under, I think that's going to be a great look. Like it's what part of the problem is raising his hand above his head because of his shoulder. Pretty important to do that to rebound, right? So I love that. And then obviously he's really not ever finding himself in position. He's always one-on-one. They're never double teaming him. So there's not really any situation where he's going to get an assist. He's only at about 1.8 potential assists per game in this series. So I love him to go, 2.8 potentials, but still he needs the 2 assists off of that, which you're not going to get. So love doing all that. And then if you look at the points as well, like he didn't really even take any shots in the first half. He wasn't super cold necessarily. He was super uninvolved. And then he did get a couple wide open looks in the corner from 3 in that third quarter that even got him close. Not even really close in terms of the points. He still only ended with 5 of them. So he missed the other one from 3, I should mention. So either way for him, it's like the minutes. There's so many ways this goes under, right? The minutes themselves are likely to stay under 30, even if he's decently playing well or decently healthy and playing decently well. There's still the Russ coming in factor, maybe not for 35 minutes, but I think we should project Russ for high 20s regardless of what's going on with the status of MPJ. And that's just going to naturally cut into his minutes and usage.
Yeah, this was like what I was looking at first is fading just the rebounds assists for MPJ, and then you don't have to worry about if he gets hot from 3, but you just be like, yeah, but he's still just like not that involved. He's just like floating around on the wing on offense, looking to maybe take a 3. Has the shoulder injury, so he's not rebounding much defensively. Yeah. And other guys on his team are definitely more willing to mix it up, like Russ. So I would consider over for the RA on Russ, under for MPJ as just another way to say like this is how we think. Even if they do split minutes more evenly, this is how we think they're going to impact the game.
Right. Yep, exactly. Yeah, Russell, Wardell, Curry, Westbrook, apparently, like you were saying, who just started hitting like 50% of his threes in the last couple games. But we'll see if that continues. Like you said, I also like the RA, specifically the rebounds, way more even than the assists, the way you have it. So I think that's the way to go with Russ. And we will. That is all the time I should say in this one. And we will see you again on Monday, like I was going to say here. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Enjoy Game 7, y'all. And then obviously Game 1s start for the next series in the Eastern Conference on Sunday. So it'll be a Knicks versus Boston series that Nate and I will be heavily invested in. Can't wait to talk about that one as well. So until we see y'all next, happy betting.